must be supplemented by increased energy and intelligence by bringing the mind back to the source and incorporating it with that energy and intelligence. If we don't pull the arrow of the mind back, then it doesn't go flying forward ahead. This is the philosophy of action. Philosophy of action demands a skill in doing so that we do less and accomplish more. Philosophy of action. Pull the arrow 6 inches and it will fly too far long ahead. It's a technique of action. And if somebody says, I didn't get time to pull the arrow back, he can throw the arrow there, dead arrow thrown. He one says, I didn't get time to meditate. Someone going to the market says, I didn't get time to go to the bank. He can only suffer in the market. The technique of going to the market is 5 minutes in the bank, full day in the market will be fine. If we don't get time to go to the bank, we can very well suffer in the market. If we don't make the mind full of great energy and intelligence and happiness by bringing it to the source of thought, to the field of being, then the mind can only be miserable while acting in the outside. It will be loose and weak. And being weak, it will strain oneself, will do more and accomplish less, gets tired by the evening. So the technique of action demands pulling the arrow of the mind back to the source and then bringing it out for all accomplishments in the world, whatever we want to accomplish. Do less and accomplish more. So this, which opens the gate of experience of inner spiritual life, opens the gate of more dynamic, successful life in the world. Not that we have to abstain from the world to get to inner spiritual experience, but in order to get to the more dynamic influence in the field of action, we must go deep within. The whole theories have changed. And this is what has made this transcendental meditation popular in the world. Because it has made obsolete all the understanding about spiritual life which we read in the books and which the preachers of spirituality preach. It is the experience of everyone. If someone has failed in the class, he's so gloomy and so dull, he goes to the cinema, doesn't enjoy the cinema. Someone who has got first class and feel good, and then with a good happy mood when he goes to cinema, he enjoys the cinema better. So all the joys of the material life that one could enjoy, the surroundings, depends upon one's own inner mood. If one's consciousness is in bliss, happy mood, you enjoy the surrounding 100 times better. If the mood is dull, to fail to gain the joy which the surroundings are ready to give. So even to be able to enjoy the joys that the surroundings and the material life can possibly confer to us, can possibly give us, it is necessary that we incorporate this practice of transcendental meditation, going in and coming out every morning and evening. It's the technique of action. Now, another aspect of technique of action is, the basis of action is rest. Action starts from silence. Any action starts from silence. Any activity starts from silence. It is our experience. If we have slept well in the night, you are fresher in the morning. And if not slept well, you are very dull in the morning. The activity is not profound. So in order to be active during the day, one has to have silence during the night. During transcendental meditation, As the mind goes to experience the finer state of thought, breathing becomes less, mental activity becomes less and less. Due to that, physical metabolic rate becomes less and less and less. Physical activity becomes less and less. The whole nervous system gets complete rest. This complete rest is the basis of great dynamic activity. During sleep, metabolic rate becomes less, but not enough. Less. It is reduced. Metabolic rate in sleep, during sleep, is much less than it is during the waking state. But it doesn't stop. The breath continues and the blood flow continues and everything, the whole machine continues. And therefore, the machine, nervous system, never gets rest. From the birth to this day, the machine has been functioning all 24 hours. Imagine a machine continuously functioning for 20, 30, 40 years, 16, 20 years. It is sure to wear out more quickly. But if there could be a way to stop the machine for even a little while, it will last much longer. So this is the way of gaining complete silence and basing our dynamism of life on that silence. Silence is the basis of action. So the entire physical structure should be brought to that deep rest before it is exposed to activity. The active mind should be brought to that inner bliss consciousness in tune with that reservoir of energy and intelligence before it is released to act. This is the philosophy of action. So this transcendental meditation is a technique which brings fulfillment to the philosophy of action, not that an active man should find excuse to not meditate. Some young man in some university said, we are young and this is the time to play about, and this, when we become old then we'll meditate. Then I said this transcendental meditation particularly is not a preparation to death. It's a technique of more successful, more dynamic, more fulfilling life. And all the students at the age of 20, at the age of 25, 30, energy, intelligence and happiness is found at every level of life. But if we can improve the level of energy, intelligence and happiness, then we enjoy more of activity, more of accomplishment, more of fulfillment. Otherwise, at every level of intelligence, man is working. If he working 12 hours on one level of intelligence, if he works half an hour to raise the level of intelligence, then raising the level of intelligence, he accomplishes more, works less and accomplishes more, enjoys life more on both levels, on the level of inner bliss experience of inner bliss, and the experience of outer activity. On both levels one enjoys more. We come to the conclusion that it is this transcendental meditation which is an essential part of education, but which has been missed so far, and due to which life has not been fulfilling. Introduced in the field of education, all the youngsters from the age of about 14, 15 start to meditate. By the time they are major, about 21, they are fully developed intellect, fully developed mind. When their nervous system is fully developed, they become major, rise above minor, then they are responsible citizens of the nation. By the time the body has grown to 21 and make them major, their mind should also be fully developed. Every citizen of 21 should have a fully developed mind and a fully developed body, should come out integrated personalities, and then every nation will be proud of such a generation. And this is the world that we can create. Having laid the fundamentals in quite great details, I would like to devote some time to answering questions, because you may have something. It's a very precious evening that I am available for any type of questions. You should go home without doubt regarding this whole philosophy.
Holiness, when you meditate transcendentally, what do you meditate about? Meditate about silence, or about the source of thought, or about the metaphysics of the soul, or about being as being, or about a fullness of existence, or what more concretely?
In transcendental meditation, the definition cannot be framed on what we meditate. We don't meditate about we don't meditate about anything. Transcendental meditation is something in which we do not meditate about anything. Meditation about anything means contemplation. Meditate about the petal. Think all this. This I call contemplation. And contemplation is thinking about something on the level of meaning. It's like swimming on the surface of the pond. In thinking about something, we come across newer and newer meaning, newer and newer phases about it. But it's like swimming on the surface and finding new horizons, but remaining on the surface. Transcendental meditation is diving deep into the pond. In this transcendental meditation, we don't meditate about something. What we do is experience the finer state of thought. It's not an intellectual process. It's a mechanical process of direct perception, direct experience. Experience of thought, experience of finer state of thought, experience of finest state of thought, experience of source of thought. Direct experience, not thinking about something.
Now this experience of thought, what experiences thought? Thought experiences itself, or thought experiences an object?
Mind experiences the thought. The thought is the object of experience in this case. Gross state of thought and subtle state of thought.
Now, I understand that you have said that the principal end of transcendental meditation is the expansion of consciousness, the expansion of the mind. And I presume also that you...
Expansion of the mind is the result of this process of experiencing finer state of thought. When the finer states of thought are experienced, then the mind expands. So expansion of the mind is the result. It's not the process.
Will the mind experience itself? Will the mind experience mind?
Mind experiences the thought. Mind is the experiencer, and the thought is the object of experience.
Yes.
I'll be brief. Practitioners in the field of psychology counsel man to attempt a greater awareness of his basic inner feelings. By basic inner feelings, they refer to his fears, objects of love and hate. They observe that most people operate without sufficient awareness of these basic feelings in their conscious mind. Their process of meditation via psychotherapy or psychoanalysis aims at an integration of these inner feelings of fear, guilt, and love with the conscious mind. How similar is this integration to the integration you speak of resulting from transcendental meditation? How is your result and process different?
It's completely a different type of integration. Here what we integrate is the outer field of activity with the inner field of silence of being. Mind travels from here and here, from here to here, and then the two extremes are brought together.
Is this inner being one's feelings, one's basic feelings of love, fear, hate, or is it something different?
These are the feelings, as you say. Feelings are thinking. They are on the conscious thinking level.
Well, these are still on the conscious level.
Because all analysis is done on the conscious level. Therefore, it does not expand the mind. It brings a little bit more clarification on the intellectual plane. But it's just on the conscious activity of the mind, on that level. It doesn't expand consciousness.
So then your process is deeper than the process of psychoanalysis.
Oh, by far deeper. Where is the depth in psychoanalysis? It's too superficial.
This will be my last question, but practitioners in the field of psychology counsel and have observed objectively that very few people are actually capable of successfully undertaking psychoanalysis and achieving this integration. But yet you feel like that your deeper result is easy, simple?
They find difficult to get this integration because that is not the way of this integration at all. Psychoanalysis is not the prescription or method to expand the conscious mind. To expand the conscious mind, the only way, I'll emphasize on the word only, the only way is to experience the finer state of thought and experience the source of thought. Then the full potentiality of the mind becomes active.
Thank you.
I have two questions.
For your information, Dr. Banslow of Keele University has written a pamphlet comparing the efficiency of psychoanalysis and autogenic training that they do in Germany and this transcendental meditation. And there he has pointed out these subtle differences, how psychoanalysis helps to remove stress and strain and how transcendental meditation gets to the cause of it. It's a beautiful pamphlet.
I have two questions. In what sense is transcendental meditation different from classical yoga?
Yoga has been very widely misinterpreted for many hundred years. Now when you say yoga, then my definition of yoga will be completely different from what you mean yoga. Because all the yoga for all these hundreds of years has been taught in terms of controlling the mind, concentrating the mind, and thereby silencing the activity of the mind, and thereby hoping that the reflection of being will shine forth clearly. So the whole principle of yoga is understood in terms of controlling the mind. I proclaim control of mind is opposed to any effectiveness of yoga. Because for yoga, for union, the mind should not be controlled. Control means make it steady. Here, for union, something has to walk on to something in order to bring the union. And if the mind is, if one doesn't travel from here to there, remains in control here, then how can the union be brought about? Therefore, all the principles that have been advocated as the principles of yoga, they are all wrong interpretations about the whole thing. That is why yoga has been declared difficult. According to my system of transcendental meditation, yoga is a spontaneous result of nothing but the very structure of life. Outer life is moving in search of greater happiness. Infinite happiness is there. Therefore, yoga should be spontaneously brought about.
Maharishi, a question has bothered me for some time. That is,
Take it out.
many people in India...
Take the botheration out.
Many people in India started meditation, then they started getting away from life. And was it because they did not place enough emphasis on scientific and material progress? So they started leaving life and going to the forest, and then to the extent they left all the people in a state of without leaders.
They were all motivated by that principle of control and control and control.
You think that was different from this meditation?
This is the basic thing that has done greatest harm to Indian life and Indian philosophy. Control and negation and need of penance and strenuous practices for inner spiritual life. The whole thing was wrong.
What emphasis do you place on scientific thought and scientific progress for material values?
All emphasis. In any field of progress, it's only the methodical approach that gets success. Scientific thinking means methodical thinking, systematic procedure of advancement. That alone can bring success.
Now, do you think that your philosophy is being spread as much in India as here also? Of transcendental meditation?
It's gaining ground here and there and everywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Your Holiness, perhaps it's a product of 4 months at Harvard Law School, but I can't help being concerned with practicality.
Oh, of course, law should be all practical.
Thank you. You
Yes?
spoke of transcendental meditation as a way of achieving world peace by alleviating suffering in the individual.
Beautiful synopsis of what I have said.
I think that such a philosophy may be well accepted in an audience such as this, where people are not...
Intelligent audience. That's why I spoke like this here.
However, what I am troubled by is a person who is not in the position of the people in this audience and who is worried about where his next meal is going to come from. How do you alleviate his suffering through transcendental meditation?
Before he comes out to search for meals, I'll ask him to meditate. And then he comes out more energetic, more intelligent, happier. And then he finds his food a better quality food.
That may be a qualitative answer, but it's not quantitative, and I don't think it's going to fill his stomach, and I'm concerned with that, Your Holiness.
No. Meditation will not fill his stomach because it needs rice and bread and butter to fill the stomach. But